Okay, I am capturing. It is at 3:36 p.m. on April 29, 2024, and you're remembering what the entity is engaging in, and that is the maintenance of a light source, which is revealing the demonic environment where the demon possessed, which includes a state government. It's the state of California that's engaging in what is stalking and the specific environment. The specific environment is one where it is operating all outside of the bounds of nature. And that is documented when you are inside of the same address all day and you are witnessing what is an alleged sunrise and an alleged sunset, which is impossible. You have the maintenance of what would ordinarily be referred to as the sun remaining in alignment with you. That is over your head, over the building you're inside of for an excess of 11 to 12 hours, which is the body of evidence, the pattern of conduct. The conduct that's occurring in that specific environment includes what is helicopter activity. And that helicopter activity also occurs with simultaneity to what that person that is in that environment, surrounded by that environment, at all times and at all places, in concert with also with simultaneity to what they do physically and what they do on a communication device. This is demonic activity. What I'm capturing today, 2024, on the same day in 2022, Stephanie Ortiz has already engaged in what is the federal offense, a very serious federal offense, which is the criminal purpose that the people of the state serve, to engage in what is acting in concert with that entity, the public entity that is keeping you under surveillance. And on this day in 2022 at 1:17 p.m., I'm capturing the specific environment where I am not in Los Angeles. I am not even in Ontario. I'm nowhere near Palmdale. I'm certainly not in San Bernardino. None of those are locations where the sun is going to maintain a position in its zenith directly over my head either, contrary to documentation that I've captured already. And because the entity is engaged in a demonic imitation of the natural environment, that's why you can capture it one day and then do the same thing, go to a different location on the next day or the day prior, because by virtue of the fact that it's supposedly the natural environment, that's why that's the significance of that documentation. I'm capturing on this day in 2022 after Stephanie Ortiz has engaged in what is the egregious and highly psychotic and malicious criminal act of summoning the entity which is stalking, surveilling, terrorizing, sexually offending, and violating routinely, systematically, ceaselessly, intentionally, the Fontana Police Department, who together, she is monitoring, she represents the entity, the Fontana Lewis Library, the facilitating venue where the pattern of conduct is underway, and that's why the light source is over my head at 1:17 p.m. As I document the Fontana Police Department at 1:45 p.m., and then I document the Fontana Police Department who are group stalking me in concert with the people, because you will see the impossible light activity move across the white van along the driver's side as I'm approaching the Fontana Police Department, who are group stalking at the entrance of the 7-Eleven. And that's the same impossible light activity that you saw the demon operating Universal Waste Systems while they're driving by a building, and impossible lights moving across that building, impossible lights moving across that white van on that video captured at 2:47 p.m. in the presence of the Fontana Police Department, who are group stalking. What I'm going through this timeline because on this day, and when the entity engaged in criminal summoning and then going to the extent to group stalk me, that is follow me, come and harass and criminally defame me on video at that. They are doing so at the 7-Eleven at Juniper and Arrow. That's the same block where, by the way, where Officer McMillan is present group stalking at that intersection, the north end of that same intersection at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's capturing the pattern of conduct right there. But nonetheless, on this day, April 29th, I get on Route 66 at Omnitrans Transit Center in Fontana, and I go to Upland, California, where I arrive, which I've already used as a vivid illustration here. 4:18 p.m., you're looking at the light source that's visible through the laundry room windows here at 1810 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, which is an impossible occurrence. Nonetheless, I've already documented it. Not only is this speaking to what is the presence, and this is what you're analyzing, when I'm showing you the light activity inside of my private space, you already know that this isn't sunlight. We don't even have to endeavor in some serious debate or analysis about what's not sunlight. It's appeared on my ceiling. It's engaged in dynamic movement, flashing of light while I'm telling you about the demon possessed. You already know that this is sunlight. But I want to go even further because you're remembering what is not just here as you're recognizing it. It's everywhere. This is not any There is no exception. While I've shown you, while the entity literally has, the entity has shown you at this point, I've documented it, I've already exposed it. It's literally a prosecution. And then you have the demon possessed who cannot help themselves, which speaks to the public safety concern, the very real public safety issue that exists. And you're doing so while you are engaged in an ongoing confirmation of the fact that you belong in straitjackets, and you being the entity that's engaging in this highly psychotic pattern of conduct, entirely malicious. There is never going to be any sunlight piercing through closed blinds at that, let alone appearing underneath my bed, behind the headboard, swiping all around in real time in a video, which I captured days ago, increasing in real time, spreading across the walls as you've seen, and then appearing on this bedroom wall as though supposedly while it's over me. And on this day, Upland, California, the entity is engaging with its conduct as though sunlight is going to ricochet off of mirrors and then bounce back onto the wall. And that's just giving us what's supposed to be an explanation. That's not sunlight. None of this is sunlight that's ever going to occur. You know also that it's not sunlight because it appears above my head. It appears concentrated when I open my front door. It creates what is magnified size of my shadow upright, multiple shadows. This is the environment where demons, such as you saw in images as I open my window, that demon is strategically placing themselves. That is driving into the parking lot. That's 1818 number 1. They're going to be deported out of this country upon federal prosecution. They're violent sex offenders that are also monitoring me while I'm nude and while my panties are down, while they engage in the elements of monitoring. This is more engineered light that's appearing on the wall and possible light activity, speaking to the very close surveillance that you're subject to. And the light source is over my window. It's not over Route 66 Omnitrans, which is where I'm at on this day in 2022. It's not over the Upland Public Library as I walk in after capturing video at 4:18 p.m. facing the Upland Public Library after getting off of Route 66 in the afternoon after Stephanie Ortiz engaged in summoning the entity, and that's an illusion. You're not calling the police and telling the police about something that the target individual did. You are group stalking. You're engaged in surveillance, just as you see exhibited through the environment, just as you see the entity engaged in ongoing stalking. They know exactly who you are, where you're at, what you're doing, even on a communication device. That psychotic stalking system includes the pattern of conduct of summoning. This is the malice whereby an entity wants to outwardly appear as though they are engaging in what is the operation of their role, their job as police officers. They're keeping you under surveillance, and they're acting in concert with the demon-possessed population, the people of the state, who are group stalking with them. And they are engaging in what is obstruction of justice. In addition to that, in the video that I captured at 10:40 in the morning, I'm standing at what is the Fontana Lewis Library, where there was no sun over the Fontana Lewis Library this morning. You saw it over me while the LAPD was group stalking. All right, while I'm remaining here. This is the same property, by the way. Same property. That was 10:40 in the morning. It is now 3, 11, 12, 1, 2. That was over 5 hours ago. There is never any sun that appeared in the state of Florida or any other state of Nevada, for example. It's hovering right here over me while I'm inside of my bedroom window. That's what that's telling you. The entity is engaging in what is maintaining this light source on Seville and Sierra, and that's exactly what I point out when I'm speaking to the demon possession and the criminal stalking behavior of the Fontana Police Department. And I'm uploading additional videos so that you can see the maintenance of that light source on that same street, Seville and Sierra. Seville is the cross street where I'm standing there at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:35 in the morning, as I referenced in the video. I'm standing there on this day, April 29th, at 10:40 in the morning, capturing video while the light source is directly over my head. I'm on that same street of Seville, facing the Fontana Lewis Library, and the demons of of the Fontana Police Department, just like the demons of the Los Angeles Police Department, they're engaging in the pattern of flying around in a circle. Do you understand the significance of that? I will tell you. This is what is a demon's communication of the fact that they are of a particular demented condition. This is a demon that's operating a helicopter, and they're pacing in the engineered light. They are communicating hostility, and they are also seeking to terrorize the target individual. This is the psychotic affect on a human being that suffers from demon possession. And this is a physically invisible condition. This is the explanation for why the entity is not only keeping an American citizen under surveillance, but they're doing so in the unheard of method of using helicopters. This is the most terrorizing method that the demon-possessed can conjure up in order to horrify the American citizen whom they are following and pursuing and surveilling and through these corrupt law enforcement agencies. And this is exactly what you see the Fontana Police Department doing. They're flying in a circle. And this is at 5:55, 5:56 p.m. at the Fontana Lewis Library, where I'm on the same street this morning on April 29th at 10:40 in the morning. in 2022. So I just did a throwback. So because into the compare the P.O.C. folder, you will see on that same street, this is supposedly the natural environment, and I'm showing you that no, it's not, because on that same street of Seville, that light source is hovering. While demons operating an ambulance, American Medical Response are crossing paths using their lights and sirens as a method of what is massive facilitation, where the people of the state that are group stalking all around you are engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring together. And that's the state and the third party, the people of the state acting together. And this is a systematic means of what is massive surveillance underway. And you have a population of demons that are also communicating hostility while you're surrounded by that terrorizing environment. This view of terrorism, this episode of terrorism is documented and uploaded to the Compare the P.O.C. folder. And then remember, everything that you're witnessing, that's the same street at Seville. At 6:10 p.m., I'm at the Fontana Police Department. Today, April 29, 2022, I'm at the Fontana Police Department at 1:45 p.m. That same police department, that light source is remaining in perfect alignment with me. Never going to be through the window of the 1806 North Alvarado Street, my apartment, which is what the entity has been engaging in. Aiming light underneath my mattress, underneath the headboard, all over the walls, magnified in size, even through closed blinds, creating what are multiple shadows, impossible light activity like you see inside of my workplace. Documentation of what is terrorism via directed light in what is an entirely unnatural environment. It is impossible that the sun would be over the police department from 1:45 until after 6 p.m. That's speaking to the stationary presence of the light source, not the sun. Also, you have what is not going to be the sun through my window in Los Angeles and hovering over the Fontana Police Department at the same time. Under no circumstances is the entity going to engage in what is anything deviating from that pattern of conduct. This is the environment where the entity is stalking in helicopters, and they're stalking in concert with the people, and they're doing it in a very specific environment while they're maintaining a pattern of criminal summoning. So this is the substance of the videos that I uploaded to the Compare the P.O.C. folder, because while you're looking at that, you're looking at what are demons that are stalking in helicopters. Demons, the Ontario Police, the LAPD, and the Ontario Police Department, Fontana PD, Ontario PD, and Fontana PD engaging in the pattern of flying around in circles. I'm telling you what the significance of it. This is a psychopath. This is a demon and they engage in what are stalking you and engaging in what is very nefarious, very terrorizing conduct of flying in a circle. It's not just because I'm mean, ooh, I want to be scary. This is literally a demon that's pacing. And they do that where the pacing conduct is occurring. You see pacing occurring in multiple ways amongst the group, driving in opposite directions. This is what you see the demons doing in this video at 5:55 p.m. at the Fontana Lewis Library while the entity is sounding sirens and the light sources over that same street, Seville, where I am at the Fontana Lewis Library. That's the P.O.C. It's speaking to, you know, that because the light source is there, it's there as early as 9 o'clock in the morning. That's not the sun at 5:55 p.m. That's the pattern of conduct. The entity is stalking in a helicopter. That's the pattern of conduct. The entity is engaging in what is very significant behavior, movement, activity creation in that environment amongst those hallmarks. And it's the identity of what are demons that are pacing all around you. This happens through traffic. This happens through pedestrians. It happens in air traffic. This is what the entity is doing by plane and helicopter. And it's demonic activity. And you are looking at what's going on in my room as far as light activity. And then you're looking at what the entity was engaging in surrounding me in that environment on April 29, 2022, on April 15, 2022. Where the entity is maintaining a light source while the entity is engaging in a sex offense here. That's Susanna Martinez, okay? Her and the minor children that she lives with, all right? She's going to federal prison. Impossible light moving across every car while that demon crosses path, moving across the dumpster, all right? That's what she's doing while she then goes to her parking spot and she's focused on me, all right? Lorraine Pena's daughter is group stalking, parked at the, and she does so as I walk into my apartment. She wasn't there. You saw me documenting the light source over me and the entity group stalking by airplane. She's arriving, engaging in what is relevant positioning. She's a psychopath engaged in federal stalking, knowing exactly what I'm speaking about her. She's present in relevant position at the facilitating venue under the light source, which is in alignment to my bedroom over my head, nowhere near Route 66, the entire route for that bus route, Omnitrans, that arrives at what is Upland at Arrow and Euclid Avenue at 4:18 p.m. Okay, you know the entity is keeping the so-called sun here. That's not the sun either because it's rising and setting here. Okay, this is a group stalker who's crossing paths. She's also in custody of a minor child whom she's going to lose custody of. She's group stalking with Lorraine Pena, who's going to federal prison, and she's engaging in a sex offense, a documented one. She acts with impunity because she's engaged in this pattern of conduct on more than one occasion, and she knows that she's been documented. All right, the entity is engaging in what is a well-documented pattern of conduct in concert with speaker companies. The entity is acting in concert with the people of the state that are maintaining an ongoing uniform pattern of conduct, and that is keeping you under surveillance, doing so in a specific environment amongst what is entirely demonic light activity, while you are reminded about the pattern of conduct that's underway, as I also captured at the courthouses. Because while the light source is remaining over the Fontana Lewis Library as early as 9 o'clock in the morning until after 6 p.m., 7 p.m. to be exact, where I'm documenting the Fontana Police Department, if you recall my documentation, on this night, 7JXS439 is Lorraine Pena's daughter's license plate, and she's a sex offender. She's going to federal prison. She's going to lose that child that she's in custody of. The entity is engaging in what is maintaining a light source, and you'll see a demon inside of a Fontana Police Department vehicle at 7:03 p.m. And then you're going to look at that scene, and you're going to remember what the entity is doing here in LA now. And that the demonic imitation of a sunset through my bedroom window after engaging in what is aiming all manner of impossible light. This is how you know what's going on in Fontana amongst the Fontana Police Department and the people of the state. Okay, this is supposed to be sunlight down there. It's not sunlight. This is the entity surrounded with light activity, and it is the confession of the demon possessed who would like to engage in stalking in helicopters. That terrorism shall cease, okay? They're going to federal prison for that, and they will be subject to what is systematic mental examinations for engaging in what are terrorizing American citizens in this country. You're disbanding those demon-infected agencies. It's not just that demon that's flying that helicopter. It is indicative of what's going on in that entire department, okay? And that's why, by the way, you also know it. You have what is an unmistakable pattern amongst police departments, not just one. Ontario, Montclair. You have what is Fontana, Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. They're engaging in what is group stalking in a specific environment, and these police departments are group stalking in helicopter. This is, by the way, the specific agenda, the specific desire to create what is a great amount of fear and terrorism in the targeted individual. This is the demonic desire. This is why they use helicopters in particular. I need you to understand that. That's why Satan is using helicopters specifically to inflict that specific type of psychological harm, to absolutely petrify the targeted individual. It is very, very sick. Okay, and it's highly malicious, and it's occurring in a specific environment. There's no warrant or probable cause. You certainly don't have any warrant or probable cause to do it in concert with the people of the state. All right, and this is occurring under the guise of what's supposedly the sun and sunlight in Fontana, California. And this is the direct evidence against the Fontana Police Department, which is the state of California, and the people of the state. Stephanie Ortiz is going to federal prison because this is the criminal system, the system of terrorism that she was engaging in, while demons are monitoring me, including her in the bathroom while my panties are down. They're sex offenders, okay? It is, again, 3:53 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is the living room where the entity was rising the sun. This is the bedroom where the entity is setting the sun. Has nothing to do with sunlight. All right, the sun that's above you does not engage in what is any sort of gymnastics, downward light, then shooting through horizontally, downward light on the wall, through closed blinds at that, and then also above your head showing what is all manner of aiming light. That's no distraction. It's an ongoing prima facie case of federal group stalking and monitoring, and it is of a demonic nature. All right, this is revealing what is some supposed secret society. This is what the demon possessed in this country are doing, and it's occurring. It does not stop at the doors of the court. It is fully underway inside of the facilitating venues. That's what they are. They're state facilitating venues. The facilities, and I'm referencing San Bernardino County, for example, Los Angeles County, their hospitals, their facilities, their mental facilities. They're monitoring, they're kidnapping, they're exercising fictitious authority while they're keeping people under surveillance and then making up information while they're engaged in all manner of psychotic stalking, so malicious that the target individual reporting it is supposedly subject to what is defamation. That's criminal defamation. It's the pattern of conduct, and it's occurring here in Los Angeles. That's what this evidence is used to demonstrate. There is no sunlight that's ever going to appear in an upward manner, doing gymnastics and also there's no sunlight when you're opening and closing your front door, and then it's appearing above your head like you documented. This is another iteration of the same thing, directly incriminating Lorraine Pena, who is criminally engaging in the pattern of conduct, facilitating the state system. It's occurring on the real property belonging to Todd Speaker. It's occurring amongst his employees who are engaged in a sex offense right now. Juan Carlos is outside listening to every word, engaged in criminal surveillance and federal stalking on the venue of the internet via communication devices. And that's how you're understanding that body of evidence against the Fontana Police Department on this day in 2022. There is no shared environment. It is not sunlight that's covering. This is engineered light that's covering that demon that's operating a Fontana Police Department vehicle at 7:01 p.m. as I documented on April 15th, 2022. This is the light that's covering his face. He's a demon. All right. He's group stalking, and I captured it on video. There is no son that's going to be present on that same street from 9 o'clock, 9:35 in the morning, 10:40 in the morning until 7:03 p.m. That's the pattern of conduct underway. And that's what's being captured here. And you're going to prosecute and disband the law enforcement agencies that are engaging in this. And this does require a lot of what is, picking up the slack by the federal government. But this is massive. This is a massive issue of public corruption that's being exposed in the state of California. And the federal government necessarily must step in and cease immediately what the government is doing. And the government is doing it through and in concert with the people. And this is, again, a matter of demon possession. You're understanding what demon possession is. You're understanding what demon possession looks like. You're understanding what demon possession behaves like. And it is highly malicious where it's underway by the government. It is public corruption, and it creates a very serious issue of public safety. All right. Again, it is currently 3:56 p.m. and this is P.O.C. This is the light source down here. All right. I'm bending down. This is the light source in alignment to my bedroom. This is supposedly sunlight. All right, that's appearing. Here's my shadow down here, right? And then you're also looking at what's above my head. My shadow's up here. This has nothing to do with sunlight. This is what I'm telling you. This is a demonic imitation of the natural environment, sun rising and sunset, and this is not even sunlight. All right, this is P.O.C. 3:57 p.m.